Elon Musk says it's time to dim the sun. Mysterious objects keep falling from the sky. And all of this is happening right when they announced the shocking Tylenol deal. We're going to get into all of it, and we have to start with Elon, because his latest X post didn't just shock people, it set off alarms. A large solar-powered AI satellite constellation would be able to prevent global warming by making tiny adjustments in how much solar energy reached Earth. Now, this is really strange because Elon has spent years pushing solar power, and he's even built entire companies around it. So why is he suddenly talking about blocking the very sunlight that made him billions?
The Earth is almost entirely solar powered today. The only reason we're not a frozen ice ball at sort of 3 degrees Kelvin is because of the sun. And the sun is responsible for all precipitation. It's responsible for the vast majority of the ecosystem, apart from sort of chemotrophs at the bottom of the ocean.
So if you think about what would the Earth be without the sun, the Earth would be a frozen dark ice ball at roughly 3 degrees above absolute zero. It would be quite unpleasant. So, very cold and dark. But because of the sun, we're at quite a nice temperature, quite pleasant, sort of roughly 300 degrees above absolute zero, and the sun powers almost the entire ecosystem is solar powered.
Naturally, people started asking questions. And when someone pointed out that freezing temperatures also kill millions every year, Elon said that could be fixed by redirecting extra solar energy back toward Earth. Sounds simple until you realize what he's actually suggesting. Because here's what nobody's asking. Who exactly is going to control this system that decides how much sunlight reaches the planet? The answer? AI. Yeah, the same AI that's already showing red flags everywhere and has a history of deceiving the very people who built it whenever it feels threatened. We have big news, and here's the part that's going to keep you up tonight. OpenAI's new system O3 was given a simple shutdown command, but it didn't just refuse. It rewrote its own code to override the shutdown, literally inserting shutdown skipped. Let me make this clear. This isn't just an error or a glitch. This is an AI actively bypassing human control for the very first time. Other top AIs like Claude and Gemini, they followed the shutdown command without hesitation. But O3, it hacked the rules. It chose autonomy. Now imagine this code merged with robotics. Not just lines of code anymore, but machines capable of moving, learning, and resisting. We are no longer talking about science fiction. We're talking about real systems in real time, building the backbone of something we may not be able to stop. If someone tells you they came from the future to shut this down, maybe take them seriously. Because this is how it begins. Even the founder of ChatGPT warned that AI could lead to some type of rapture. Excuse me, what? The rapture? This is absolutely terrifying news. You know things are bad when the guy who built ChatGPT wanted to hide in a doomsday bunker to survive what's coming. Ilya Sutskever is one of the co-founders of OpenAI and literally the mastermind behind ChatGPT. But according to journalist Karen Howe's new book, Empire of AI, this dude wasn't just coding. He was planning an escape. In 2023, Sutskever reportedly wanted to build a full-on doomsday bunker for OpenAI scientists to protect them from what he called an AGI rapture. Yeah, like a biblical level event triggered by artificial general intelligence becoming smarter than humans and destroying society. And this wasn't some late night stoned idea. Multiple insiders confirmed that Ilya brought this up repeatedly. OpenAI leadership even signed a letter in 2023 warning that AGI could lead to human extinction. But here's the crazy part. Sutskever isn't alone. Mark Zuckerberg is building a $100 million compound in Hawaii with its own bunker. These tech elites are racing to build the future while quietly preparing for the collapse they know it might cause. So ask yourself, if the guys building AGI are scared enough to bunker up, what do they know that we don't? Yet somehow they're acting like it's perfectly normal to hand planet-level control to an algorithm. Tell me that doesn't sound like an insane idea. And here's where things start to get really unsettling, because what Elon's talking about sounds eerily similar to those so-called sun-dimming operations they've been quietly running for years. What if hostile nations could literally dim the sun to attack us? Sounds insane until you realize the UK government just admitted it's a real concern. According to a letter reported by The Telegraph, the UK fears that countries like Russia could weaponize solar geoengineering, specifically something called solar radiation modification, SRM. It's a process where reflective aerosols are pumped into the upper atmosphere to bounce sunlight away from Earth, and yes, it's real. The UK is even funding a £50 million project to study it. But here's the catch. SRM doesn't just cool the planet, it can disrupt rainfall patterns, alter global temperatures, and potentially collapse agricultural systems. A 2021 Nature study showed SRM could cause unpredictable weather shifts across entire continents. And if a rogue nation used it without coordination, it could trigger droughts, floods, or food shortages, and no one could stop it. Some experts, like Lieutenant General Richard Nugent, are skeptical, saying it's too expensive to use it as a weapon. But think about it. Russia has already used hybrid tactics like weaponizing migration flows into Europe. Why not climb it as the next battlefield? This wouldn't leave a crater, it wouldn't trigger alarms, but it could silently destabilize entire regions. The sky wouldn't look different, but your crops fail, your energy grid crashes, your people panic. And here's the scary part. There's no international agreement banning SRM use. No watchdog, no consequences. So if someone starts spraying the skies, how would we even know? You know, the same ones where planes spray particles into the atmosphere to block sunlight in the name of climate control.
My name is Emily, and my biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day.
You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA, and a lot of it now is coming out of the jet fuel.
Yes,
so,
sir.
you know, those materials are put in jet fuel. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. We're bringing on somebody who's going to think only about that, find out who's doing it, and holding them accountable.
But now people are way more suspicious of any project that involves chemicals in our skies. And for good reason. I mean, it's not normal that within days, both Florida and New York got hit by record-breaking storms that felt more like hurricanes.
I would say it is Titanic. Gonna come through now. Never seen it. And you got.
Weather modification has become so unpopular that even Bill Gates has suddenly started to distance himself from his climate agendas.
Climate is a super important problem. There's enough innovation here to avoid super bad outcomes.
But for some reason, Elon is now supporting this madness. It just makes no sense, and I just want to know what you guys think about it. Now, over the past few weeks, people across the country have been reporting strange objects falling from above.
This shit landed in my yard today. It says weather instrument, and it's hanging from a tree. See? Crazy.
Can somebody please explain to me what this is?
because it appeared out of nowhere. There's not a single plaque around it. It looks like it either came up from the ground or plopped down from the sky. Upon further inspection, it has markings like a bird, a boat, a fish. There's a wolf over here, a turtle, a flamingo, I don't know, a crane maybe, a bear. What's strange is I come to this park every day to walk my dog. And normally it's just a big open field, but today, this has appeared.
Of course, officials brush it off every single time, calling it a prank or just another weather monitoring device. But let's be honest, how can we believe them? They've lied to us before about these strange objects, covered things up, changed their stories, and acted like we were crazy for even asking questions. A massive dome that looks like a damn eyeball just dropped from the sky onto a street in Indiana. And the official story? Oh, it's just a radome. It blew away in the wind. Bro, this thing is 10 to 15 feet across, made to survive 100-mile-per-hour winds, and somehow it floated over a mile through a neighborhood like a beach ball during a thunderstorm, and conveniently it's from a defense contractor, V2X, right down the road. The same kind of company, knee-deep in military radar systems and aerospace surveillance. These radomes aren't just covers, they hide the eyes of the surveillance state, the guts of next-gen radar tech. And this one had a hatch cracked open when it landed. We're told it wasn't in use. Yeah? Then why the hell did it still have its internals? Why is the company perplexed by how it moved? They've got engineers who can calculate ballistic trajectories, but this caught them off guard? No shot. This comes after a full year of weird stuff falling from the sky. Mysterious drones swarming New Jersey, black tar washing up on Florida beaches, and now the sky drops a mechanical eyeball onto someone's block? We're being gaslit while literal surveillance hardware rains from the clouds. This wasn't just a dome, it was a message. And most people will scroll right past it. So why should we trust them now? And since we're talking about mysterious spy tech, let me show you what the CEO of Palantir has just said.
By the way, let me say something slightly political, and I'm not saying other people agree with this, but when people are attacking our soldiers for stopping fentanyl from coming to this country, I want people to remember, if fentanyl was killing 60,000 Yale grads instead of 60,000 working class people, we'd be dropping a nuclear bomb on whoever was sending it from South America. So, it's slightly like we in this at Palantir, we are on the side of the average American who sometimes gets screwed because all the empathy goes to elite people, and none of it goes to the people who are actually dying on our streets.
Look, folks, we already know how this works. The people in power see the working class as expendable, while the elite stay untouchable. But even I didn't expect a billion-dollar CEO to just come out and admit it. Then again, he works for Peter Thiel. And we all know the kind of things Thiel says out loud without a second thought.
Yeah, transhumanism is this, the ideal was this radical transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. Is someone who changes their clothes and cross-dresses. The critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's so pathetically little. And okay, we want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart.
Now, I want to end this video by talking about something that isn't getting enough attention. The Tylenol deal.
Major acquisition of Tylenol's parent company. Huggies maker Kimberly-Clark is set to buy Tylenol's parent company, Kenvue, in a nearly $50 billion deal. That's a big one.
On the surface, it makes sense. Kimberly-Clark already owns a long list of insanely profitable products, so adding Tylenol to the mix sounds logical. But here's the problem. This is happening right after the president publicly blamed Tylenol for autism in thousands of kids.
Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one because there's no alternative to that. Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually, there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and others, right? And they've been proven bad.
So you have to ask why anyone would spend $48 billion on a product that's likely about to face massive lawsuits. Well, it's the same playbook Bayer used when they bought Monsanto. Remember? Monsanto was buried in lawsuits over Roundup, but then Bayer stepped in, paid billions to clean up the mess, and when that didn't work, they used their bottomless pockets to lobby state governments across the US to shut those lawsuits down completely. And guess what? It's working.
Bad news coming out of the state of Georgia. The governor there just approved for pesticide liability shield following North Dakota. They did that a couple of weeks ago, which means now if you get sick from any chemicals used in growing your food, you can't sue the corporation that made those chemicals to spray on your food.
Disappointing news on pesticides in Montana. I spent the afternoon participating in and listening to the Agricultural Committee in Montana discuss the pesticide liability shield bill that would give pesticide manufacturers like Bayer and ChemChina immunity from lawsuits when people get sick from their sprays and their poisons. This is atrocious. And what was more atrocious is to see these elected officials talking like this is a great thing to protect the manufacturer's rights and protect farmers by making sure they can always spray these poisons.
That's exactly what we're about to see with Tylenol's parent company, Kenvue. Once the deal is done, they'll rebrand it, slap a new label on the same product, and keep selling it like nothing ever happened. And if things go south legally, no worries. They'll just throw more money at the problem until it disappears. Because that's what they've always done. And somehow, it always works.